It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
SKOR North Twins Show every Tuesday with Trevor Plouffe. Trev, the only thing that can stop the Twins right now is Mother Nature. That's the only thing I think that can slow down the Twins. I know the winning streak technically ended on Sunday in Milwaukee, but they started a game yesterday. There was 2 rain delays. I know you're in Cali, but it's literally consistent rain for the next basically 48 hours. Logistically, I don't know how they're going to get these games in against Cleveland. Mother Nature's not a friend to the Twins right now.
I'm trying to think if that's going to be better for the Twins or worse for the Twins. Like these, if they do have to end up playing doubleheaders later in the season, like the Guardians are such an enigma to me. They just like find ways to win baseball games. I think I'd rather play them now while the Twins are hot, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, except for this, boys.
There's also like no players, like none of our starters are healthy.
Right.
So.
And it might be fortuitous because if Correa and Buxton are in line to come back because it's the 7-day concussion list, I'm just saying I might be tempted to bang games and play and when Cleveland comes back here, play them. And I know it would be a lot of baseball, but yeah, you've been like the pitching is real. But I will say this. Aren't you sort of waiting for the bats to stop a little bit with guys out?
Well, I mean, look, the teams that put together good seasons, they have, stretches where the unsung heroes carry them the way Clemens has done for the Twins. Like that's supposed to happen during a season. It's hard to pinpoint or pick and choose who it's going to be or when it's going to happen, but that's what good teams do. When guys go down, they have other guys to pick them up. I mean, that's what Cleveland does. It's a different guy all the time. I was, who was it the other day? There was 9 different people in the series had a run driven. I think it was the Mariners in their series against San Diego. 9 different batters in that series had an RBI. So that's what good teams do. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Cody Clemens is going to hit game winning 3-run homers all the time, but hey, let's ride the wave, right?
Absolutely. Hey, quick shout out, by the way, here on the SKOR North Twins Show. We're looking to raise some awareness for an important cause. Suicide tends to affect the construction industry, and we can all play a part in saving lives. You can make a difference for those who build our communities by joining the Construction Hike for Hope at the end of the month, Saturday, May 31st, at the Legends Crossings at Vikings Lake in Eagan. You can learn more information at afsp.org/MN Construction. So I'm looking at the schedule ahead. Cleveland does not come back to Target Field until it's actually the Twins' last homestand of the season.
Oh, wow.
It's September 19th, 20th, and 21st. So that's the Twins' last. They finish on the road at Texas, at Philly, actually, are the last 6 games of the year.
I don't really like that for a doubleheader.
Yeah. And
I guess honestly, you have a reinforcement, so 2 extra players at that time.
Yeah.
And then you'll get another one for a doubleheader. So you have 29 on the roster?
Yeah. You'd have I think 28, 29 on the roster because you get the extra for September and the extra for the doubleheader. That's actually super interesting. In fact, that last stretch in September is nuts. 3 against Arizona, 3 against the Yankees, 3 against Cleveland, 3 against Texas, 3 against Philly. That's going to be real tough sledding.
Those are all playoff teams except for the Guardians right now, I think.
Yeah, so that's going to be very interesting. So, all right, without going too far down in rain logistics, because thank God I am so glad I do not have to figure out that stuff. I just am told when to come to the ballpark. I want to start you with this, Trev. Your broadcast partner, Corey Provis, yesterday, him and I were, before pregame started with Rocco Baldelli, he asked if you were coming on the show today, and he said, can you ask Coach Trev, has Royce Lewis's throwing motion changed and improved in your naked eye from what you've seen since he's come back this season? Because this was a topic we talked about a lot last year with that throwing motion. And I know the gloves now, the bat is starting to heat up, but the glove was also on display over the weekend in Milwaukee in an impressive way. Have you noticed anything different with how Royce is throwing baseballs at third?
It goes back to the Baltimore series too. He had a great defensive series there as well. So mechanically, I guess I'd have to really get in there and watch him take ground balls. It kind of looks the same to me, but he does look more confident in it. And that's kind of all you need right there. I don't think it's changed a lot, but he does look like he's whipping the ball around. And you can tell when a guy is confident in the infield by the aggressiveness of his throws, like how if they're coming out of his hand and they're humming, he's feeling comfortable. And I think that's the point that you have to get to as an infielder, is just be willing to let it go. If you start to baby it to different bases, that's when you have a problem, and you're probably going to make more throwing errors. If you have the confidence to just let it go. And it's funny you bring that up, because Royce got in my DMs a couple of days ago and was just like, man, I can't wait to prove all the media guys wrong. Like, I just feel like I just need the at-bats, man. Like, if I have the at-bats and I'm out there every day, like I'm like who I'm supposed to be. That's paraphrasing what he said, but this is a guy who, despite the early struggles offensively, and I know he's picked it up a little bit as of late, still as confident as ever. And I love that attitude. It's like, just give me the at-bats and I'm going to be the guy. And I there's no better time than right now for Royce Lewis to like be stepping it up when we're having, when Carlos and Buck are gone, when Wallner's out. Like, this is exactly when he needs to step up along with those other guys as well. But he's the cog in the lineup right now.
Speaking as a guy in this side of the business who he probably would like to shut up, I will say this. I have no doubt about his ability at the plate. It's just he needs to be able to play. Like that's the thing. At some point in time, you're hurt so much that it gets to be like a theory about, well, what will happen when you do come back for an extended period. And eventually it gets, I think, from our point of view, frustrating because it does not happen. But I think in Milwaukee, I mean, on Sunday, he should have had 2 home runs. That was a great play by Churro, who stole one. But, Trev, I think what we saw with the at-bats over the weekend and on Sunday in particular, yeah, there is no question the talent is there. And there is no question his ability is there. I think what comes into question is, can you get back on the field and stay there? And that's, I think, a fair thing to ask about at this point.
Yeah, no, I think you understand that as a player. It just gets frustrating because you feel like those things are out of your control. Like, it's not like he's a bum and he's just showing up to the park and he's going out drinking every single night and he's taking his body for granted. That's not who Royce Lewis is. And,
Sure.
and guys that get labeled as that, Byron Buxton. I don't think I've ever seen Byron Buxton have a beer. So that's when it gets frustrating, when you're doing everything you can and then it happens and it's like, dude, it feels like it's out of your control. So I get where they're coming from, because these are guys that they take care of their body, but sometimes
Sure.
it fails them. I understand it is a fair question from the media to ask, but it can be frustrating. I think maybe I don't know, did like some article come out that he got frustrated with or something that I don't know about?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember if there's anything specific. I mean, I think a lot of people have made a big deal of, remember, like, they moved him to second and Royce was obviously vocal that, like, I don't think that was a good idea. And then maybe just when he was
it wasn't.
It wasn't
guess
a good
what?
idea.
It wasn't a good idea.
It wasn't a good idea. And then I think trying to like figure out the defense, like best possible defensive alignment. Like, is that Brooks Lee at third or is that Brooks Lee at second? I don't know. Maybe just Royce obviously putting not pressure on himself, but just expectations of, hey, I'm really good bat and I can hit some home runs, but I'm also going to be really good defensively too. So maybe just some of his own preseason expectations.
I mean, like, I'm not a huge defensive metrics guy. Like, I like them when they support my argument, and I don't like them when they don't support my argument. It's basically what happens, right? Like, isn't that what?
Yeah.
That's what Foolish Bailey always says about war. Are you a B war or an F war guy? And he goes, whatever one supports my narrative. Like, that is the truth. But if you're looking at Baseball Savant, I mean, last year he was one run out, like positive, outs above average. He's there again this year. So it hasn't been, there are certain guys that are playing out there that if you look at what they're doing defensively, you'll be shocked at some of the numbers. So I think Royce has the ability, the athletic ability and the determination and the work ethic and all of those things, the confidence to be a plus defender. And dude, you never know what those. Ask Corey Koski, who's going into the Twins Hall of Fame, how he changed himself defensively. You're talking to a guy right here that was a piece of shit defensively and then figured some stuff out and became serviceable and then maybe even above average for a couple of years. Like, you can do it. And like, Royce has the ability. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're looking back in a year or two, I'm like, oh shit, like Royce is kind of going and getting it over there. All right. Like, he wants to be that type of player. And I think you have to have that, and he does.
So he's made some nice plays, Trev, in the past week or so at third base. But the one that stood out to me, and as a guy that played the position, I'd like to ask you about this in particular. It was the play on Sunday around the 6th when he charged in and barehanded the ball and got the guy at first. And it's not like it wasn't the spectacular sliding play, diving play. It wasn't, but it was just the type of play that I believe is a very difficult play. And he made it look pretty simple. And to me, that's progress.
Yeah, he's okay. So those, I know what play you're talking about. Those type of plays where you don't really have to think about it. It's just like your athleticism taking over. I think he's going to be fine doing those. It's a throw that you have to be familiar with, and you have to, have good mechanics with it. But a lot of times it's a no think play. Mm-hmm. The plays that separate the elite defenders from just like the good defenders are more of the plays where you got to like think about it and have some time. Like you need to make all of those plus the ones that you don't think, and then the range comes into play. But I think for Royce, the problem has really never been like the athletic plays. It's been more so like, hey, I got time now. What's my footwork doing? Where's my arm slot? And you start to like, even just for a split second, think about it. And I think that's kind of where guys get into trouble. And that's where the repetition comes into play. If you're out there taking ground balls every day and you're getting your feet under you and like they're moving, like I deal with this all the time right now when I'm coaching young kids. Like you got to, it's footwork. Like even your arm, like your arm slot and how you throw, it has nothing to do with your arm. It's about your feet and like what you're doing with them. Are you getting in the right position to throw? But those are the plays that I think separate. Like you just want to be a guy that the pitcher says, I want the ball hit to him. And you don't even really think about making the spectacular plays. Like if I can get my glove on it, I want to make the play. The other ones will take care of themselves. He's obviously plenty athletic to do it. But that's where I think he can make the most progress is the routine plays, couple steps to the left, couple steps to the right. They just have to become second nature where you almost don't even think about those too. It just becomes methodical. When you start getting that, the dumb brain of yours in the way, like that's when mistakes happen. So, to me, that's where he can make the biggest jump.
I know we're spending a lot of time on Royce in this episode, but a couple things there, because Trev, you just touched on it, reminded me of some things that Rocco said yesterday during pregame about Royce and the defensive ability, and it said he said his reads and decision making are what's standing out, which is I think some of the things even you're basically kind of referencing where. Yeah, the athletic barehanded plays, the athletic ability, that can take over. But how many steps to the left you have to take to get to this ball? Same thing on the other side to the right. But he also used this word, and I would love your time as a player and as a hitter, because I was curious on why he said this. Rocco said, the twitch of his swing looks present. The twitch of his swing looks present. Can you educate the dumb baseball people who have no idea what he means by the twitch of his swing looks present to the best of your ability? I don't even know if maybe you can answer.
I'm trying to think about, watching him right now and what Rock will mean by the twitch of his swing. Obviously, there's a ton of different ways to describe stuff. I would assume he's just talking about like the decisiveness and the quickness that the barrel is getting through the zone. No, that's what he has. Like he's got bat speed and he can, he's got thunder in those hands, man. And again, it's another one of those things where you just can't be thinking too much. I know that sounds like silly, but like it when you're feeling locked in at the plate, you talk to guys like, what are you doing different? Like, I'm just seeing the ball good. Like that's really what it comes down to. You put all this work in to get yourself good mechanically in the cages, and then you get in the game and it's like, I mean, as dumb as it sounds, see ball, hit ball. Like that's when things are going well, when you're like, okay, let me just see it in the zone and I'm going to react. And I think that's what Rocco's talking about. Like he's putting himself in a position where when he does make a decision to swing, the path is clean and the path is fast.
Let's talk about the pitching, because the pitching's been fabulous. Starters have been great. The bullpen's been great. First of all, when you watch this, Trev, how sustainable do you see it being? And with where things are at right now, can you recall the last stretch of Twins baseball where they not only had pitching, but it went this deep? Because it feels like it goes incredibly deep, both bullpen and starters now. I mean, this is what we expected when the season started. We didn't get it for like 2 or 3 weeks. But if I'm going to be encouraged about the Twins' chances now, I think it starts with that.
Yeah, I didn't really expect it to be like that. I think it's to me it's been a little bit better starting pitching wise. That's what I'll say. Bullpen, I know those guys are lights out there, and to have it be a little bit longer. I know Coulomb is now on the IL, but what he has done, that's a little bit of a surprise. But like when Brock Stewart's healthy, he's nasty. You know, Jackson Duran at the back of the pen, even Cole Sands, we've known him now. He's been a reliable reliever. I told you Louis Varland was going to be throwing good innings out of the pen this year. Like we knew, I think that was going to be the strong suit. And then the pitching we knew was going to be good. But it's been great. The starting pitching I'm talking about now. The swing and miss stuff I think has been exceptional. And I think that's something that's stood out to me a little bit. Obviously, Joe with the 9 Ks his last start. They're feeding off each other. And you look at the rotation now, and people always get, just like cover all the teams, or I try to. It's hard to keep up with everybody. But, I hear from all the different fan bases on my social media, and they're like, we don't even have a 5-starter. I'm like, nobody has a 5-star. You know how lucky you are to have like a guy, 5 guys in your rotation that you can have you have a good chance to win a ball game? It sounds crazy because it's the big leagues. And you have a bunch of players in your organization, but if you went team to team and said, okay, do they have 5 starters that can give them a chance to win a game? I bet you're going to say yes, maybe 6 or 7 times. And the Twins are one of those teams right now.
Yeah.
You can talk about Pablo, Joe, and Bailey. Set it and forget it. Those guys are going to give you a chance to win right now. Okay. Paddock, holy shit. Call me wrong about him. He's been filthy. Arm action looks great on all of his pitches. He's throwing strikes. He's tunneling. He's doing everything right. He's looked great. So like right now, say yes to him. Like even if Sim was our 5 guy, you're like, all right, like he gives us a chance to win. But now you're bringing up, either Zebby or Festa in that 5 spot. So now you have like, what is that? That's seven guys. You're like,
yeah,
those guys can give me a chance to win. That doesn't happen around baseball a lot. So that's kind of where I am at, especially if you start thinking, this is crazy talk from where we started this season. You start thinking about playoff series. You don't need 5, you need 4, or you might need 3, depending on the length of the series. So like, that's when you can start to get excited about this baseball team. If you get to pare it down to Pablo, Joe, Bailey, have that bullpen. If the offense shows up, you can win series. And if you can win series, you can win the whole fucking thing. That's why I'm wearing this 1991 Minnesota shirt. Like, I love that that's the truth. And I know we're going to, like, maybe it's, it's May 20th. I get that. But the roster is good enough to do a lot of things in this league.
Rocco called it yesterday. We're playing championship level baseball.
Me and Rocco, like in lockstep right now.
You guys might be here. Championship level baseball is what Rocco called it, which I know is kind of dangerous to say on May 19th at the time. But I mean, when you win 13 in a row and you win like that, and that's like the offense, in my opinion, like really hasn't been scary. Obviously, there's some guys banged up. Correa and Buck are now banged up. Wallner might be coming back here soon, which is great. But it feels like, can they get to 5 runs? If they can get to 4 to 5 runs, more times than not, they have their pitching depth to probably close out that game. Like, they don't have to hit this Bomba squad lineup or play like at the Yankees level where they have to hit home runs. Can they grind their way to 5 or 6? And if that's the case, like, they're going to win probably 90% of the time.
Yeah, I wonder what the statistic is if they put up 4 runs or more. We can go through it, but I don't want to do that right now. That was the case with the Mariners for a long time. If they put up 4 runs, the winning percentage was crazy. And this year they've finally figured it out. They struck out a little bit less. They're starting to hit the ball. And now they're in first place in the West. If the Twins, that was the talk of the town in spring training, more situational hitting, putting the ball in play, having better at bats, more quality at bats. I feel like we've seen that this year. And then, if it's, it's hard to talk. It's May 20th, but like if this team is at full strength, and you're right, if Wallner's in there and you have Buck and Correa, everyone's healthy. Like I think they have a long enough lineup where we will start to see some more offensive, bursts, and that's great because sometimes, guess what? Down the road, pitching staff's not going to look as good as it's going to look. Like there's going to be those peaks and valleys during a season, and right now the pitching has really carried this team. But I think the offense isn't like the Achilles heel of this team. It's not, especially when all the guys are healthy.
The most important question though is, so now we have determined for sure that the Twins are not nearly as bad as they started. They just won 13 consecutive games. That's not baseball either for the most part. So I guess my question is, and I think the coming months will determine this, which is, what is this team? Like, because you're going to, I mean, I go back to what you said, Trev, almost a month ago now, which is win series. Like, what you did against the Brewers is absolutely fine. You won 2 of 3. But I'm now curious to see once this sort of settles back down, and we know that April was awful, but you're not that bad, and you're not going to win 13 consecutive games much. So, like, who are you? And that's my biggest question now, because in retrospect, we shouldn't have got as down on them as we did. Now, they were playing terrible, but I also am not going to take a 13-game win streak and say, well, this is them for sure. So what's the identity of the 2025 Twins is what I'm trying to say in a long way.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, look, the winning streak, who was it against? You know, like they got the Orioles manager fired. They beat them 6 times in that winning streak, right?
Good.
The Brewers have not been playing good baseball either. Their offense has been gone. They've been kicking the ball around, which is very uncharacteristic. That obviously Churriel makes that play. I think we're getting into, and I schedule watched not too long ago, and Dex, maybe if you have it up or whatever, but I think they're about to get into some gauntlet type stuff here at the end of May and into June. And look, it's doesn't make or break your season, but it is a good litmus test when you're going up against these teams who you know are going to be in the playoffs. And as long as you play good competitive baseball against them, I think that's fine. But you're right, winning series, that's just it. If you can just stack series wins together, you're going to be there at the end of the year. I am a little, I think this team is good. I think they've shown it. I am a little skeptical of the winning streak and just being like, oh, this is who they're going to be. Because I do look at the opponents. I'm like, they kind of hit these
Giants
teams
were
the right
one
time.
that I liked.
Yeah, Giants was a good one.
Giants was great.
That's a
and
good
you can point to the fact like they haven't been healthy. You know, not everyone's been in the lineup. So it hasn't been a full strength Twins team versus these, POS teams who are just in a free fall. But I think that if you're a naysayer, you can point to that, and I think you'd be accurate.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, a quick shout out to our friends at Northern Soda. So, Twin Show listeners, the Twin Show root beer, 10% off for all SKOR North listeners. They have a tap house. That's right. There's a Northern Soda tap house in New Brighton, Minnesota. So, you can find them too in stores like Kowalski's, Lund's, and Byerly's, most Targets and Hy-Vees as well. At that tap room, they have 10 handcrafted sodas on tap. And again, when you mention the Twin Show root beer, 10% off for all SKOR North listeners. So either go to the tap room there in New Brighton or go find some at your local grocery store. And then, Judd, I know it's pouring right now, but barbecue season's here. Stoked. Tell us about Stoked.
Absolutely. Well, in fact, yes, the prime time of barbecue season about to begin. A company based right here, operated here, absolutely fantastic. Stoked solid oak firewood, perfect for your tabletop stove. Easy to use 5-inch pieces that will burn for 3+ hours. We're talking about the 50-counter fire starter buckets as well, 4-count fire starter bags. Barbecue caddy, I'm going to tell you right now, it is a delight for any barbecue type of person. You can find Stoked products at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Also, check out StokedBBQ.com to find their deal locator and all the other locations where you can find Stoked. If you're going to barbecue this season, make sure, Trevor Plouffe, that it's Stoked.
You're talking my language. Some oak?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The
no better wood
barbecue
to cook
caddy.
on.
The barbecue caddy is perfect for
What is that? What's a barbecue caddy?
It's basically a briefcase for a barbecue person. Yeah. So like it's got all of the tools and stuff that you could possibly want. So like they're not laying around here and there and you're trying to find them.
Love that. Oh, barbecue season is the best. It's already barbecue season here.
It is.
It's beautiful.
Good for you.
It's you and Stafford and the families, right? Barbecue.
I'm helping him hone his barbecue game. He's got a nice little setup in the backyard.
Okay. Are you a smoke? Do you smoke things, Trev? Are you versatile in that regard, or?
Well, I guess no. Like a real guy that's working a big smoker. I've done it before. I have a Traeger that I use for when I want to smoke things, which is cheating. I get that, but it's still efficient and works.
Set it and forget it, just like you said with the Twins rotation.
Set it and forget it. I have a Santa Maria grill that's cooking over live fire that I use probably more than anything. I have it all. I have a gas grill as well, but the Santa Maria grill I cook over oak.
See, there you go.
So, oh my God, there's no better way.
That's awesome.
You brought up the schedule too here, Trev, before we wrap up. So I just realized this. I was looking at the future opponents. So we'll see when the Twins ever play Cleveland. I don't know if that'll happen this week, but this weekend I think is clear. They have 3 against Kansas City, but after that, the Twins do not play another AL Central game until June 27th. So these wins, I know again the Cleveland thing's up in the air. But they haven't really stacked many AL Central wins here. They've beat up on the Sox. They've lost 3 out of 4 already to Cleveland to start the year. These tiebreaker scenarios, 'cause there's no longer any 163s anymore, them trying to get these series wins to against a division is even more important. I mean, yeah, beat the Birds and beat Milwaukee. That's fine. They have to take some series wins against a division to obviously distance themselves from their competition.
Like... what is it called when you're looking at something through rose-tinted
glasses?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Rose-colored glasses.
Whatever. Okay.
Yep,
Last time I scheduled a watch for the Twins, I was looking at May and June, and I was like, oh, that's a gauntlet. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, they can win a lot of these games. Like, what a difference like a month makes.
We thought Baltimore was going to be good.
Right.
Yeah, and
They're awful.
Okay, Tampa looks pretty beatable. It's at Tampa. It's a weird place to play right now. They have some guys that can do certain things. They look beatable. Seattle's played pretty good baseball. They have the pitching. The offense is okay. I think those 2 teams match up pretty damn well against each other. The A's you can beat. It's going to be really interesting. I'll be on the broadcast for both Seattle and the A's, so I'm excited to see that.
Oh, you'll be hot, man.
Toronto you can beat.
Sacramento.
Texas, their offense hasn't showed up. You can beat them. Like, I'm starting to look at the schedule now, and maybe it's just recency bias or whatever it is, but I'm like, okay, like we can win a lot of these series.
I would submit this as a statement that I think right now is accurate. The American League is not as good as I thought it was going to be as a whole. The Central Division, Detroit looks fantastic, and the division is tough, but I look around the rest of it, and I'm like, I'm not saying they're bad teams, but to use your term, Trev, they're very beatable teams.
Yeah, look, I mean, coming into the season, we knew the National League was going to be the much better league, and it's proven to be that way for sure. The American League seems wide open. If you go out west, like Houston has their own issues. They're trying to find kind of like an identity. I think they're going to move Jose Altuve back to second base. I can't believe they ever put him back out there put him out there in left field. Awful. Texas has not hit at all. They've actually pitched great, which is kind of crazy. I'm happy for them. Like watching DeGrom throw has been great. And then the A's are who they are. They're okay. They don't have a lot of pitching. Angels are who they are. Like there's a lot of beatable teams. Even the AL East is like, I thought the Red Sox were going to be one of the better teams in all of baseball, and they have just struggled with their starting pitching. They have to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, if the playoffs started today, 4 teams in the AL Central get in. 4, which is nuts.
That is nuts.
And what, 2 years ago, this was
awful.
The worst division, like in modern post wildcard era. Post wildcard era was the worst division, and now they had 3 teams last year and are probably on track to send it again 2, if not 3 teams for this year.
Yeah, it's funny because last year a lot of people pointed towards the White Sox as a reason those teams got in. Which is, maybe it's true. I mean, the Twins, what did they go undefeated against the White Sox last year?
They lost one game.
Lost one game, so
Chicago,
12-1.
Mm-hmm.
You can point that to the NL West now. They have the Rockies out there.
Right.
Those teams are going to benefit from that. So it goes year to year. But yeah, the AL Central's hot right now. The one team who I don't want to say this because they're going to go on some run. I don't feel like the Guardians are but I say that every year about them.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it.
And then
I look at that team like, how do you win games?
Pop up. Yep. Hey, I got one nit to run past you. I'm curious your thoughts because it was a destructive play that I thought was completely unnecessary. Let's go back a week, go to Baltimore. The Correa-Buxton collision. Take me through, because you've been there. Take me through that and how 2 veterans end up colliding like that. What happens there?
Well, I think we've seen Carlos go back on a lot of fly balls. He's good at doing that.
Yeah.
So first instinct is for him to go get that ball. I think it's just really, really important as an infielder to always know where your outfielders are and then know who's playing the outfield. And I would do that a lot with a left fielder, and I would just kind of say, hey, look where he's playing. Like, hey, like I got shallow. Like let's talk about that. I think they just kind of got caught both wanting the ball, and then you saw Carlos try like. He didn't get out of the way. I think that was the problem. He just kind of like braced. He maybe thought the Buck was like going to go around him, or he wasn't as close to the ball or as he actually was. But I think that's kind of what it was. Like he's so good at going back and getting the ball.
Okay.
But you got to know Buxton to get there. And as soon as you get called off or know that it's not your ball anymore, you got to get the hell out of there. And he kind of just stayed there. And he braced like almost right away, which I thought was interesting. And when I saw it happen live, and I was like, oh crap. I was like, that's not that bad. And then the more and more you look at the replay, you just see Carlos's head whip back.
Yeah.
Byron took one in the chin, took his shoulder to the chin. I think that the problem was Carlos not peeling off. Like he just kind of stayed there. And Buck has got his eye on the ball. It's really hard he can't really change his direction because he's got to catch the ball.
Right.
So I think it was, if I had to blame someone, I don't want to like put it on him, but it's Carlos has got to get out of there.
Yeah, I'm shocked Buck didn't break his jaw. Like the way that I know it was the slow play replay, so we get to kind of like see things that don't happen in fast motion. But when they showed that, I thought Buxton's jaw was shattered.
Did Carlos black out? Did he say that? Have they talked to him at all?
No, I don't think he's been made available necessarily. I saw him yesterday and just asked how are you, and he just gave me a quickly getting better. They're outside running. They were running yesterday, and they were doing some post like concussion and rehab exercises activities. So we'll see.
Dude,
I guess on it.
I've had a couple concussions. They really didn't affect me too much, but I know plenty of guys. I mean, Morney being one of them. Obviously, Joe leading a position, but Morney would always tell me like, it's just that can linger. That can linger a lot. I believe who else was it that it just happened to with the Yankees? Was it Rizzo? He all of a sudden went into a huge slump, couldn't like make contact, was swinging and missing a ton. And they finally went back and like, hey, do you remember that time where I think someone ran into him at first base and kind of got his bell rung? And like it can affect you. So like we have to make sure those guys are all right before we put them back out there. Because even though it seems like they're fine, like their bodies are working right, like it could just slow you down a little bit. I mean, obviously the brain's a very powerful thing. I don't know, man. That's a scary thing. Even though it didn't look that bad in real time, it's dangerous.
Well, didn't Koski? I think he was playing for the Brewers or something. He was like chasing a ball with his back to the infield down the line and sort of slipped backwards, and that derailed his entire career from there.
Yeah.
So like it can look like, oh, that's no problem. And Buck concerns me, Plouffe, because this is like concussion 4 for him.
Yeah, I know. It can be scary to the point where doctors are being like, hey, man, like another one can do damage. And, I think we have to remember, like, these are humans. They have families. And although we take this very seriously and it's our profession and it means a lot, it's not life.
Totally. Trevor Plouffe Tuesday right here on the SKOR North Twins Show. If you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe button. Stay tuned if there's any extra innings episodes from Target Field for this homestand against Cleveland, plus the weekend series against the Royals. Go follow Trev on Twitter and check out his work on John Boy as well. SKOR North Twins Show. We'll be talking at you soon.